The Realm of Roses Plotcast is the fan podcast of the Realm of Roses Orga for the Mythodea live role-playing campaign. Text editing and direction by me, Thilo Eisermann. Shelo was the guest speaker for the Excerpts of Mitraspera's speech and the Sacrifice of the Artifacts. Some of the voices, texts, and sounds in the Plotcast were generated using AI. The music is royalty-free music from incompetech.com and tabletopaudio.com, as well as original arrangements by Flips. Welcome to the 6th Realm of Roses Plotcast. As always, we want to bring you the most important plot developments from the perspective of the Realm of Roses at irregular intervals, as an entertaining recap to listen to for all those who couldn't be there themselves or who want to get into the mood again on the car ride to the next convention, for example the Conquest 2025. At the same time, this plotcast is also our way of spreading knowledge about the many plot threads and making the small and large stories that we have experienced together accessible to more people. As always, a short disclaimer in advance. First, this plotcast makes no claim to absolute truth. Secondly, we tell the story from the perspective of the Realm of Roses, and therefore, of course, we have our own perspective. And thirdly, we try not to say anything wrong, but if there are any mistakes, please forgive us. This time we look back at two major events of the year 1325. The spring campaign for the return of the Temple of Ash and Ember, and the Convention of the Elements in Holzbrück, where Mitraspera herself appeared before us. Two events that mark the end of an era, and the beginning of something entirely new. A little OT call out is also a must. The Plotcast is a team effort, and we appreciate any support. If you enjoy writing or want to help summarize plots, please get in touch, especially when it comes to writing and translating. Every helping hand is worth its weight in gold. But now let's look back together on the fire and tears, on farewells and departures, and on the first steps into a new world. Chronicles of Mythodea Legacy of Fire 2025. It was the year 1325 when the settlers once again gathered from all parts of Mitraspera, called by the Embers themselves, to the distant, inhospitable Kalhatra. Once a place of ancient power, now a stage for a struggle between light and shadow, hope and despair. For while the settlers set out to call the halls of eternal struggle back into the world, the Black Dynasty also stirred, and with it the legacy of the fire threatened to perish forever. Kalhatra welcomed the settlers not with open arms, but with the shimmer of shattered memories. The halls of eternal struggle, the destination of their journey, did not return triumphantly. It appeared destroyed, torn to pieces, scattered across the land like charred fragments of a bygone hope. And yet, the fire burning within the settlers did not discourage them. Stone by stone, aspect by aspect, they began to rebuild the temple, with sacrifice, with trial, under the guidance of those chosen as guardians and Templar lords. But the call of the temple did not echo unheard across the plains. The Black Dynasty was already on its way, and with it came the Black Prince. Yet it wasn't power alone that drove him to Kalhatra. It was the Dragonfly Queen who lured him there with sweet cunning. She, whose hope for salvation flickered like a last spark in the storm. The prince, however, chose treason. He turned the Ember Wall, once a bane and protection against the settlers. The wall shattered, and from within it fled the fire dragonflies, a living swarm of fury and light. The dragonflies wandered through the land as fragmented as the temple itself. But the settlers gathered them and created new communities of them. In the dances of the fire dancers, whose power had changed, Lila, Califia Naema, and the other fire dancers and flame roots lured the last dragonflies with flickering brilliance. Where fire once was separated, it was now united, forming swarms. One of these swarms revealed itself as the Imago, daughter of the queen. Suspicious and torn by doubt, she demanded that the dragonfly queen face the battle, and saw the truth with her own eyes. Together they fought, Imago, settlers, dragonflies and the queen, against the darkness brought by the Black Prince. But the Black Prince confronted the queen himself, tore the crown from Shanna, the Niama of the south, and took away her power. But by the Niama sacrifice, the dragonfly queen was saved. To free the dragonfly queen for good, weapons had to be created, steeped in the wrath of an ancient lake of souls. These aqua-sanctified blades, born of hatred of fire and ice, were wielded against the queen. And when her essence was shattered, a new form rose from her core, a purified queen of fire. The swarm was free. But the temple carried back more than just ash and embers. A new pyxis of Mythodea had traveled with it, torn from the spheres. Within it, lost knowledge, ancient artifacts, both gifts and warnings. Meanwhile, an old blade resurfaced, Heartspark, a blade of Ignis, broken but not forgotten. Its remains were found, but its binding remained incomplete. The Terra blade Timecutter fared better. With the help of Schönweiler mages, it was bound to Simanka, its new wielder. Something new stirred from the ranks of the undead. 2 messages reached Kalhadra. The first, Garvan himself spoke, from Sarkhan. He had found a new home for the undead. The Inquisition, he warned, was powerful, and yet he had found allies. The second message seemed to come from Syrena, the spirit queen of Tyram. She was calling the undead to the timeless city of Tyram. A new, dangerous alliance was emerging. The Skagen followed their own trail. From the ruins, they recovered sacred materials destined for a temple in a place no one could name. Only one thing became clear. The island of Holmgang, sacred and ancient, had been destroyed, and the Skagen artifacts remained a mystery to the settlers. And then there was Noxarak, the flower of pestilence, a horrific creature born of disease and despair. Rastasis, the UI, was also present, pursuing her own interests. But with courage, cunning, and a touch of hope, the settlers managed to purify Noxarak, and thus destroy the last remnant of the pestilence. Meanwhile, the elemental tribes experienced a turning point. The Toria, long on the fringes of the elements, became firmly bound to the land, as a people of eagerness, with the aspect of clarity. Yet hostilities simmered, not from their own ranks, but from other tribes who viewed their new siblings with suspicion. A betrayal shook the Narichtuloch. Raikya, long known as one of their own, revealed herself to be a traitor, a consequence of the shard of Garvan within her. She was responsible for Miaka Arn's death. When the shard was removed, she showed remorse, but it was too late. Her life ended with this truth. And finally, the Adalfi. On the last evening they spoke a prophecy of Magica. They announced that a glimpse into the innermost being of Mitraspera would soon be revealed, and the glimpse came.
You know me as the one who unites. You love me as the one who creates. You have come as close to my true being as you could. But one last mystery remains. Next, I will grant you a glimpse into my innermost being. Then you will understand that magic connects and separates. And when you have understood my innermost being, you will be able to save what means so much to you, the memories you have created through your own efforts.
The Ram of Roses was not spared from the events of the spring campaign either. A ruse by the weapon master Tarabas lured the Black Prince into the camp, believing the Dragonfly Queen was there. The prince threatened annihilation, but the Archon arrived just in time. With might and thorny vines, he drove out the enemy. Tarabas, however, was banished from the realm, and undead from the Dire Guard threatened revenge. The Circle of Salvation had other plans. They wanted to prevent the binding of the temple and damaged the land with stolen thorn vines. Shiloh was kidnapped, spoke with Yarek, her husband, our spy in the circle, and was rescued. This way, a midnight ritual was uncovered, and Realm's troops were sent there to stop it. However, it became clear that Yarek's death was the only way to stop the ritual, and so Yarek was sacrificed, saving the temple, saving the vines. At the end, in a final gesture of hope, the Archon transferred some of his power to his people. Golden vines, thorns of protection, were to be planted in the home fiefdoms, a sign that he stands watchful over them, a legacy of this difficult campaign. Beyond the Seals 2025, the Convent of Elements. In the year Mitraspera revealed her deepest wounds, she called the settlers to Holzbrück, in a convent that was more than just a meeting of the elements. It was a threshold between yesterday and tomorrow, between the wounds of the old world and the promise of a new one. And as the veils lifted, something was revealed that even the oldest among us could hardly believe. The Prism, a place where Mitraspera's heartbeat could be heard. At the center of the convention was a place that was more than stone and magic, the Prism. A glimpse into the very core of Mitraspera, raw, unprotected, pervaded by alien twisted power. It was once a place of the boundless, a laboratory, where they laid the foundations for their eventual rule, and a part of Mitraspera itself. Injured, abused, but not broken. Led by Talakor of Schönweiler, with great assistance from Farouk, Ragnara and many wise men and women, the settlers began to heal the Prism, and to bind memories of the tribes into it, with hope to save at least a few. Magical strands were severed, interwoven with memories reconnected, and finally sealed with a seal of magic. But this work was not just ritual, it was revelation. Again and again, Mitraspera herself gave us visions. Memories born of pain and love. We saw her speaking with Asil, a person who had once understood her. He promised to come to her, but died before he could reach her. Instead others came, his children as she called them. And even though they changed her, even though they tore parts from her, Mitraspera never stopped loving them.
I'm making a mistake. For the second time. I'm speaking to you. Back then, my sister told me not to speak to anyone, that nothing good would come of it. I don't believe that. I remember, I'm so excited for his arrival. I sent him images, feelings of power and infinity. I'm so happy someone can hear me. He's coming closer. Asil. He will be here soon. I want to open myself, show what I'm made of. He's bringing someone. Little souls will follow him. They will be here soon. I'm so happy to meet him. He is dead? Why? Was it already time for the little soul to die? I don't know how long his life was supposed to be. I miss him. I miss his voice so much. But they say they are his children. I asked them, children? Asil? His friends. They believed in him? I think of him and open my innermost self to them. I show them images and power. I share knowledge and what I'm made of. I feel them pulling at me. I feel them confusing me. I feel them tearing to flesh from me. They are taking parts of me. Why are they hurting me? What are they doing? Stop boring into me. My power, once given freely, is slipping away.
Her near death revealed itself to us as the world fire, and we understood. An old friend, mysterious, nameless, spoke words that prevented Mitraspera from dying. The end was the story we already knew. The destruction of the World Forge, death, and then healing, slow but possible.
Strength leaves me. I give up, almost. I remember the words of my friend and I feel it. Love, loyalty, friendship, stories and hope. Still, I am empty. I can't anymore. I lash out in raging pain. I dissolve in waves. Something in me tears again. It explodes again. My heart is weak, but I feel them. Those who hold me. The elements are turning toward me. Magica returns to me. I must pull myself together. The pain numbs my thoughts. I feel it. The little souls believe in me. My sister speaks to me. I can't hear her, but the little souls say they heard her. They want to help me? I must do something so I can manage to wait for their help. Love feels infinitely good. Faith feels infinitely good. The gods speak of this. I make a mistake again. But this time I'm not betrayed. You can't imagine how good it feels to know that my being is not wrong. I will enter even as I fade. I hold on to the sparkle of the little souls. I love you. I can't anymore. I will go. We will see each other tomorrow. It will be a farewell.
On the last evening, Mitraspera herself appeared before us once again, and she spoke of farewell, of the future, of 3 miracles: the sky above a new world, a home we can return to, and hope, the path that is not yet written.
But even in the deepest pain, hope can grow. For this sacrifice, their sacrifice, is not in vain. 3 miracles for you, whom they called friends, companions, inspiration, for your journey into the distance, to Zarkan and beyond. 3 miracles I can and will now perform for you, settlers. For you who came after those who hurt me. For you who give me hope and who do not trample on my love. For the distance, for the search, for our shared destiny. I give you the sky above a new world. Beyond the misty border, you will move on. But you carry a part of me within you. There, in Zarkan and beyond, you will find traces. Sometimes you will hardly hear me. Sometimes you may think I'm no longer there, but the signs of the elements will give you new hope. As long as you carry me in your hearts, I will be with you. I give you a home, a place to which you can return, for you, for your friends, for your families, for your dreams, and for your souls. When your journey is complete and your life ends, I promise you, you will return home, to me or to the place your soul longs for. And finally, I give you hope, the path that even I cannot see. For if your destiny is not yet fulfilled, but your life ends, someone will be waiting for you, an old friend of mine. She guards the threshold between life and death, and if you convince her that your story is not yet finished, she will hide you from him who writes the final chapter. This is my legacy, a heaven, a home, a hope.
Then an era ended. The elemental tribes said their goodbyes. One by one, the peoples joined their mother and became a part of her. And yet, the prism had its effect. Some of them returned, in human form, but with a familiar soul. Where other lights were extinguished, a new light shimmered in the temple of embers and ash. The lantern of heartfire was created, a tool to find the missing shards of love, so that the bond of the temple could be consummated. The realm of roses was in the midst of all this change, and received, just as the other factions, important news from the Inquisition. A letter confirmed that the tests had been passed, and travel to Sarkhan was possible. A meeting was scheduled at an ancient monument to the Battle of the Burning Sky. But Sarkhan was not unified, we realized. Letters reached the settlers from many directions, from the Nocturnals, from Bontrell, from Greifenbronn, from the rebellions, from dragon hunters, from the Crimson Sales Company and Acheron, and even from the disciples of Asil, a group of boundless people. Diplomacy gained momentum. The Realm of Roses also made some heavy decisions. 2 valuable artifacts, the Banner of Power and the Sword of the Tulhen, were returned to Mitraspera.
Mitraspera, before you stands the Realm of Roses. We have never closed our eyes to our own history and responsibility. We look with disgust at the deeds of our ancestors. Yet, we still use their gifts. And yet, we use what they took from the country against its will. No, we are the Realm of Roses. We think in you. We think freely. We finally throw off the shackles of the past. And yet, we will not deny our heritage. Today here we confess, the Archon of Roses and Thorns needs no Tulhen, for his power comes from the people and protects the land. The time of the sword is over. The Realm of Roses needs no banner of power, for where the land is bound, it will writhe. Where it is free, it will freely give. The time of bondage is over. We return the sword, not into the hand of a new warrior, but so that the country may break its chains. We return the banner, not to a new carrier, but to the soul of our country itself, so that their powers flow again as they once did. Mitraspera, take back what is yours. Take back what your power has been forced into. The will of our Archon and the will of our people. May the sword cut the bonds of the country and then break itself by its own history. Because we are the Realm of Roses. Our legacy shall be an end to the shackles of the old rulers. Our war shall be against their final sins that plague the land. Our will should be free from the whispering of their power. Our victory will come when Mitraspera is healed of her betrayal.
Niom, the Nyame, even offered to give her crown, but Mitraspera refused. It was still needed. These moves caused controversy, including with the Archon of the South, but the realm continued on its own path. It sought allies and found them in old friendships. Tarabas, the Weapon Master, also wanted to make amends for his mistake from the spring campaign. A duel against the Weapon Master of Undeath never materialized, but his chosen prize was revealing. The Undead demanded the sword of the Tulhen, maybe to destroy the seal on Direguard. Another reason to give it to Mitraspera. The dispute ended without bloodshed. Before the convention, Miro Klippenwald had already arranged for a piece of Shanming Fane, the legendary Weapon Master arena from the capital city of Ashan, to be brought to Holzbrück. This fragment was handed over to the Weapon Masters. With this, not only did a piece of Mitraspera's history become their property, but also a symbolic obligation. In the traditions of the Archon, such a gift means that it must be reciprocated with a gift of equal or greater value, and thus the Weapon Masters now owe the Realm of Roses a gift. Amidst all this excitement, the realm did not forget to celebrate. The contest of harmony took place again, and Faruk, a young artist, won. Pomfball was played, and the Dornensturm fought with heart and soul, despite a cowardly attack by the Circle of Redemption with emetics. Victory eluded them though, but their honor was preserved. The Circle of Redemption remained active. It sent letters with threats and remembrances. One of them concerned the Kelgoron and announced their return to Mitraspera. A farewell, but not a bitter one.
You are not rulers of Mitraspera. You do not deserve it. Your limited minds have not understood more than a fraction. It should have been us. You would have led Mitraspera to her prime, pushing the limits of what the continent could have offered us, as their true children. The greatest among them, the only ones who understood that she was no longer just 5, and who wanted to use this knowledge. But the truth is, it didn't turn out that way. Our plans, brilliant as diamonds, came to nothing. Years, decades, centuries of planning for nothing, wasted on you, settlers. The path of Goroneth ends with us. No one is worthy to follow us. Only charlatans and sheep remain to abuse our symbols. We have long sought a way out. But now we are facing the bitter truth. We too are returning to it. We too hear Mitraspera's call. Enticing, sweet, a promise of silence, peace, sleep. The lost children all will return. In the meantime, my truth is, perhaps it's better this way. There are only a few of us left, and those who remain react to this truth in very different ways. Some of us are still crying out against this fate, smashing the last remnants of their work in their hidden laboratories, because, despite our power and our knowledge, one last fear remains, the fear of our end. I, on the other hand, have given in. Together with some of my brother and sisters, we leave final messages and gifts to the world, for the good of all. So now hear the last words of Adahne Somash, who was once so close to plunging the so-called Realm of Roses into the darkness it deserves. I regret not having acted faster. I regret not having hated more. I regret not being able to put my fingers around your throats myself. I regret that my final legacy is a testament to your inadequacy. Not even I could train the master, my disciple, well enough to prevent him from going mad. His weak mind is simply broken. I showed him things he needed to see, and he was too weak, and now he has spread his madness to others. My legacy. But as ridiculous and imperfect as the circle is, it is my final gift to you. Receive their hatred for your rulers, their hatred for your community, their hatred for your way of living your life. They are your mirror image and will take you with them to your death, to nothingness. And that gives me satisfaction as I wait for Mitraspera's embrace.
The Archon conferred new officers. There was no new Tulhen. His duties were divided already. Instead, the High Council convened and swore an oath. New titles were bestowed. Fenric of Frostwatch became the Warden of the Arts. Umar was appointed Warden of Dreams. The remaining members of the Council, Sir Leon as Marshal, Myrea Fuchshain as First Healer, Califia Nahema as Voice of the Thieves, Raoul Anochead as Makakwa, Lady Evelyn as Emissary, and Surya as Adar, all stepped up to take responsibility. Tiefenwacht and Schönweiler received new land. Fiete became Count, and Sir Leon became Margrave. He also received a new squire, Aximan Stiefeltreter, whose squire kick was a true spectacle. On the last evening, Miro Klippenwald spoke about his office as Nechesre. He no longer described himself as a controlling authority of the Nyame, but rather as a mediator between the spiritual and the worldly, alongside the Nyame, the Archon, and the people. The Nechesre became both a voice and a bridge. A special work was activated in the elemental temple of Schönweiler, the Hall of Remembrance, an artifact in which the voices of the elemental tribes live on in crystals, a monument to magic and memory. Malo of the Grey Souls also came into focus. Her connection to Kalkkrone was threatened by an old wound, as was her life. But Raoul and many friends stabilized the structure, but Malo would hardly be able to leave the realm. Perhaps that was a good thing, for those who have given much also deserve peace. The convention ended as it began, with hope, with tears, with a final look back, and a first step into a future that lies beyond the seals, beyond the mists, in Sarkhan. This concludes our Plotcast for Chronicles of Mythodea and Beyond the Seals 2025. A year full of turning points, full of stories, full of changes. As always, a huge thank you goes to our fantastic community, to you who bring Mitraspera to life. And a special thank you to all the helpers, guest speakers, and everyone who contributed text, voice, or time to the success of this project. And I don't mean the Plotcast necessarily, I mean the whole realm. We are at the end of one campaign and at the beginning of something new. Beyond the mist line, Sarkhan awaits us. New alliances, new dangers, and perhaps even new hope. We are excited to see how you'll like the new world and its inhabitants. And we'll see you soon at Conquest of Mythodea 2025, Fields of Bone. Whatever happens there, we take a piece of Mitraspera with us. In our hearts, in our stories, and in our dreams. With this in mind, dear adventurers, until next time, and as always, time out. And now, the overture Freedom from the opera The 11th Ring, written by Miro Klippenwald.
Against nights on my mother's steed, traverses time's eternal flow, to days of splendor without heed, where rulers like the gods bestow. A land with stolen powers might, blessing the world with holy light. Young peoples from other lands born, prepared to see the world unfurled. Yet woe, despite their talents sworn, their freedom quickly left this world. For their creators, your ancestors grand, in godlike strength yet flawed by fear, were not immune to envy's hand, to pride, to discord drawing near. Once given all the world's embrace, they limited their children's space. With just a word their spirits chained, to subjugate, to hold restrained, to judge, to banish, breaking will. Such fate befalls too often still. In days before what's now reviled was brought into this earthly realm, the Lord of the 11th ring believed he held the whole world's helm. Yet in the shadows unseen by all, where blood flowed for the magic war, there stood Eleftheria, child of heaven, freedom's core. Where chains alone and suffering lied, no one escaped the master's eye. Where even my born sister died, where brother mercy waited dire, where strength was held by ruler's might, and hunger did replace love's light. Where day and night were just the same, where all seemed different, blind with shame. Even there my spirit stood, and those who couldn't walk now could. For I am freedom boundless vast, I span the world, give solace fast, for those who sacrifice their pain, so future days might hold new meaning. For those who live in bondage pain, for every soul in bondage slain. For I am freedom boundless vast, I span the world, give solace fast, for those who sacrifice their being, so future days might hold new meaning. For those who live in bondage pain, for every soul in bondage slain.
You're still listening? Well, I hope you liked this small Easter egg, and we will see you soon at Conquest, or if you are listening in the future, at the next con. Goodbye!